Alright, welcome everybody. What we're going to try to do today is fix a problem that I've just noticed on my Vectrex. Probably would not have noticed this during normal gameplay, but thanks to the new Vec Multi cartridge that I got, I have access to the test cartridge now, and it showed that there was in fact a problem. As has been suggested on a lot of the web forums, the power switches on these things are getting a little old. So I took to heart that caution and added a remote power switch just here where I plug the cord in. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. And we'll wait for the Vectrex to start up. As you can see, the picture here looks really nice. It's nice and square, lines are evenly spaced, and you really wouldn't think anything's wrong with it. The Vec Multi menu looks very nice. You know, all the flashing and fonts and everything look fine. Okay, there's the test cartridge is number 1. Don't know if you can make that out, but there it is. So hit number 1. Okay, test rev 4. And here's where you can kind of see the issue. So notice that I have the alignment bars at the left side of the screen and at the bottom of the screen, but you really can't see the one at the top, and the one here at the right is mostly missing. It's kind of sort of there, but not really. And if you look way up in the top corner, I don't know if you'll be able to make this out on the video, you can see that it's starting to get some roll off up there. So that's what we're going to try to fix. There is a vertical and horizontal width control on the circuit board. So we're going to open the Vectrex up and try to fix that. While we're at it, we're going to drag out the big guns here. We've got the Tektronix 2215 scope. We'll use that to set the DAC offset the proper way as it's described in the service manual. You can also do that with a multimeter, but I'm guessing it's maybe not quite as accurate. So we'll go with the scope and see how that looks, and then once we've set that, we'll go ahead and do the adjustments on the horizontal and vertical width. Now I do have a cap kit coming for this. You can see the right side starting to pull in just a little bit as the unit warms up, so maybe not quite as bad as I thought, although still not visible at the top really. You can kind of make it out up there just a little bit, but so we're going to take a stab at that, and once the cap kit comes in, we'll do that and you know, do a real proper adjustment on it. The one thing I can't do, which my multimeter nor the scope can handle, is to set the high voltage. I may have to try to find a high voltage probe for my multimeter that can do the 6 kilovolts that's necessary to set the high voltage properly. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and turn the camera off for a minute, and then we'll get the Vectrex down on its face and get her opened up. Back in a flash. Alright, time to get the Vectrex open. So you want to lay it down on a soft cloth and protect the monitor face. Basically up here in the handle area, you can't really see it because it's too dark down there, but right at the corner, down in the handle where my screwdriver is, and then one over here on the left side, there are 2 screws. There are also 2 screws here at the bottom, right where this hole is, one here and one on the other side. Again, you can't really see that one too well. Probably should get some additional light, but it's right there. And then the other one's kind of hidden way down here by the power cord, right there. So just 5 screws is all it takes, and the back cover will come straight off. There's nothing attached to it. The only thing that really protrudes through it is the brightness control right there. So it's fairly easy to get the back off of the thing. So I'm going to put the camera down, do that, and we'll come back once we've got her opened up. Okay, round 2. So we've got all the screws out and ready to pull the case apart. I actually had to work on this a little ahead of time. If this is the first time yours is coming apart, You may have some trouble right down here around the cartridge slot. You can see that mine had gotten some kind of, I guess probably like grease or oil, or maybe somebody spilled something on it, and it was stuck there really well. So I had to pry on it quite a bit to get it off, but it's ready to pop off now, so we'll do that. I also brought some additional lights down, so you can see down in there where the other two screws are, in addition to the three at the bottom. So let's go ahead and pop this case off now. Basically just kind of work it off, and like I said, there's nothing that holds it, so once you pull it off, that's what you're going to end up with. So look at the inside of your Vectrex. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera while I get everything set up here, and then we'll go over where the adjustments are and what we're going to do. Back in a minute. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do here. The adjustment procedure for the DAC offset is to have a scope probe on pin 1 of IC 304, which is this little tiny IC right there. Kind of hard to get this thing to focus there, but so you can see where the probe tip is, and the dot on the IC indicates pin 1. So we've got the probe there, and we've got the ground for the probe over here on the grounding point. And then we're going to adjust the DAC offset control, which is this pot right here. We're going to adjust that for 0 volts over here on the oscilloscope. So you can see I've got the oscilloscope here. It has to warm up for about 20 minutes, been doing that. So the way they want the scope set up is they want you to have a half a volt per division on your vertical channel, and the scope set on DC, and then you zero the trace, which is the of course the middle line on the graticule, and then you do your measurements and your adjustments. So let me get the power turned on, and we'll be right back, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so here's where you can get sort of both screens at once. You can see when the DAC offset text comes on, the scope picks that signal up, and then as soon as it disappears, the scope goes back to neutral, and that neutral is right at 0 volts, so that part looks good. Alright, so here we are back in our linearity screen, and you can see we've got the white line on the left. You sort of see them on the top and bottom. The top one's a little bit cut off, and we still don't see the one on the right there. So in order to adjust that, we're going to have to make a couple of adjustments over here. Now right in the back here, let me put another light on it for you. That small yellow pot down there, right there, that's the horizontal adjustment. And way back up under the tube, that's the vertical adjustment. Now that one's pretty hard to get to. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to reach that, even with the homemade tool I made. But this one, horizontal, should be able to do. So let's see what happens here. Zoom back out here so we can get a good look. And as I turn this counterclockwise, it wants to widen the screen. And then you can see as I turn it clockwise, it pulls it in. So you can see now I've gotten that one over there on the right, but I'm way in from the margin of the screen. So as I expected, we're going to have to do some centering. So it looks like that's probably as good as we're going to get on the vertical and horizontal adjustments. I don't see any point at this point in messing with these centering magnets until I do the cap kit. Alright, so let's go up. What's next? DAC offset we've already done. So you can see there the horizontal lines maybe just a tad high. In general, the big center block looks pretty good. So I'm going to try and just tweak that bottom one just a little bit. And those two caps are these two white guys right down here. You can see them right here. Those are the integrator offsets. So let me do that. Now these actually have thumb wheels on them, as you can see here. So I should be able to just do those by hand. That's a logic board. There's no real high voltage there. About the only thing that you really have to be concerned about there is the line fuse, but it's got a nice paper cover over it. So it should be okay. I thought I'd give you one quick last look here. I did decide after all to go ahead and tweak the magnets just a little bit, even though I'll have to do it again once I put the cap kit in. But as you can see, moving the ring was quite simple. Just turned, in my case, it was the rearmost ring, and that slid the whole image over to the left just like I wanted. So everything else now looks good, and I think we're going to leave it as is till we get the cap kit. Hopefully the cap kit will help to stabilize some of the shakes, and maybe get rid of a little bit of the, I guess it's either pin cushioning or keystoning. I could never keep track of those. But you can see it's got a little bit of a sort of an outward bow to the image just on the right side there. But other than that, I'm happy with it for now. Put the cover back on and play some more games.